Morning, and thank you everyone for being here. I've been really looking forward to this, and I'm glad to see you all here and to get to know you a little better as we talk about our workshop this morning. We'll just start quickly with introductions. My name is Yasmin Galay. I am a senior at NYU Gallatin, graduating in about 2 weeks, if all goes well. I'm concentrating in child development, education reform, and public policy with a minor in child mental health studies. And I've been involved in adult literacy programs since my first year of college, working with June and now working with Allison on literacy review. I'm the editor-in-chief this year, which has been really exciting. And today I'll be presenting with Allison, my amazing advisor, and we'll just be talking about home and what it means to us, how to present in the classroom. So for introductions, if you want to share your name, pronouns if you're comfortable, where is home for you, and a little bit about what you teach and who your students are. And I'll pass it to Allison to get us started.
Great. Thank you so much, Yasmin. My name, as Yasmin said, is Allison Patey, and I'm the director of the writing program at Gallatin and advisor to the literacy review. I'm a poet by training, and I teach mostly poetry and creative writing to students at NYU and NYU Gallatin and NYU's prison education program. Home for me is here in New York City. My parents moved here when I was a little kid for 2 years in 1990, and they haven't left since. So it's become a kind of home. And I look forward to talking about this topic with everyone. I'll turn it to our host, Elka.
Hello, everyone. I'm Elka. I'm just here being the tech host. I'm a teacher at the library and a few other things, and I hope you enjoy this workshop. If this workshop is being recorded, you can turn your camera off if you like.
Great, and I think we'll just keep calling people out because it's sometimes hard to go around the virtual room. So just your name, if you'd like, your pronouns, a little bit about who you teach, what level, where, and where home is for you. So how about June?
Hi, my name is June Foley, and I retired from teaching from 25 plus years at teaching at NYU Gallatin last August 31st. And as of now, I'm teaching one independent, interdisciplinary seminar each semester and really enjoying it. And I was born in New Jersey, but I've lived in New York, always wanted to live in New York City from the time I was a child. And so I've lived here for more than half my life now. And in a way, that's my home. But in another way, my home is where my dear husband is, wherever he is.
That's a lovely answer. How about Jay King? Would you like to go next?
Hi, my name is Judy King, and I teach for CUNY. I teach for the College of Staten Island, and I also work for 1199 Hospital Union with a high school completion program. And home is, I was born in Japan. My father was a naval officer, so I lived all over the world, but I've lived in New York for 40 years. So yeah, I guess home is here now.
Amazing, thank you. Lorraine Samuels, can I pass it to you?
Yes. Hi, good morning, all. Yeah, I'm Lorraine. Excuse me, and I'm an ESL instructor. I've taught for about 12 years in the classroom. Right now, I am in private practice, tutoring mostly adults who work in the business world. And I'm also, like Allison, a poet. I've written 2 chapbooks, and I am also, an author and writer, and I contribute to a local newspaper. And home for me is New York. I moved to California for 5 years, and I couldn't stay. I had to come back. New York is in my heart and soul. Although I live in the country outside, I live in Putnam County, but I head into Manhattan as often as I can.
That's wonderful. Thank you. How about Judith Lewis?
I'm Judith Lewis, and I'm a tutor at the Eastern Parkway Adult Literacy Program and have been doing this for several years. I was born in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and I have lived here over 40 years, so New York is home to me, even though I visit other places and back to my homeland. But I spend most of my time here.
Wonderful. And I will invite Jay James, if you'd like to share next.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Jillian. I teach part-time at Bronx Community College in the Adult Basic Education Department. Home for me is New York, Brooklyn to be exact, born and bred.
Thank you, Jillian. How about Gregory? Are you able to speak, Gregory?
There it goes. My microphone, give me 1 second, please. Yes, good morning, everybody. I'm Gregory Ramsden. I am a native New Yorker, and I will echo that sentiment that truthfully, there's nothing more difficult than for a New Yorker to live anywhere else. And Judy King, that your father was a naval officer, that's fascinating. One never knows what nuts the squirrel has hidden in its little tree, its home. I was a naval officer also, and I had been working for most of my life in the restaurant industry before I became a teacher, and I hope to go back to someday to the food industry, but with my own place. Oh, and I'm teaching with the Consortium for Worker Education. At the moment, English as a second language.
Wonderful. I love that.
Mm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Roger Franz.
Hi, good morning. My name is Roger Franz. I teach English as a second language at Manhattan Educational Opportunity Center. We're up in the State Building in Harlem, and I live in Brooklyn, New York. Glad to be here.
Wonderful. And I think we have just one person left. Wen or Huyen, can you speak?
You said it correctly. It's when.
Oh.
Yes, I am teaching part-time ESL in Brooklyn for Fifth Avenue Committee. And I'm originally from Vietnam, but I've lived in New York, not New York City, but in the United States for a long time, starting in Cleveland, now New York City. So New York City is home, I guess, now.
That's great. And Elka, did you want to talk?
Yes, I missed the most important thing. I came here also 27 years ago to study, and then I got a 1-year work permit, and I told my family I'm staying here for 1 year, and now it's 27. And I don't really know where home is, but now last week I actually became a citizen. So I guess here, and I still have my German passport because I just cannot decide. So curious to see what you're going to say.
I'll say welcome to our gang.
Thank you.
Yes.
And I'll say US dual citizenship. You can have 2 homes.
Mm.
Perfect. I'm so grateful to you all for sharing a little bit about home. I think it gets us in the right mindset for the workshop. I realized I forgot to mention my home, but I grew up in Miami, Florida for 14 years. And then I lived in Baltimore, Maryland for 4 years before finally coming to New York, which was the hope all along. So I definitely consider New York City my home now, but I guess I'm spread out a little bit across the country. All right, so I think we have.
Excuse me, Yasmin, may I ask? I'm sorry, this is Gregory Ramsden again.
Mhm.
May I ask what part of Miami you grew up in?
I grew up in this tiny little place called unincorporated Dade, right under Miami shores.
Really? Oh, yes. I lived for a while in North Miami Beach and Hollywood and South Beach also during Hurricane Andrew. So
Very close by. I think that was about 15 minutes. I think I took tennis lessons in Miami, North Miami.
yeah, Miami Shores, wasn't that where the unfortunate building collapse happened?
Um, Honestly, I don't remember, but it might have been. I know we got hit by a few hurricanes quite badly.
No, no, just I don't know. Seems like forever now, but it was only about, what was it, 5, 6 years ago? No.
Oh, possibly. I moved in 2014, so a little out of touch.
Ah, okay, okay, okay. That's very rare. It's usually the other way around. New Yorkers go from New York. I mean, New Yorkers go to Miami, but very rarely do Miami-ites come up to New York.
Well, my mom was born in New York, so she
Ah,
kind of raised
okay.
us with that
It was
New
in your
York
blood.
mentality. It was kind of in our
Oh,
blood, yeah.
okay. You were a citizenship of you were a citizen of New York by dint of your parents, your
I
mom.
like that. I'm gonna take that. Yeah, home is always a very interesting thing, and I love that it creates so much discussion and connection.
It
Um,
really is. Yeah, this is
yeah,
gonna be a good session. Hmm.
I believe so. And I'm excited to start it with a little warm-up writing activity. So I'll just quickly introduce it. Just sort of first things that come to mind when you hear the statement, my home is ... So we're hoping to do kind of a word cloud activity with a pretty intuitive little visualization software. I'll put the instructions to code, and Alison will be sharing her screen just to help us see everything. So if you just go to this website, which I'm putting in the chat, and then it will prompt you for a code, which is also coming to chat right now. Once you put that code in, you'll see a screen with like a little thumbs up icon. And once you hit that thumbs up, it should prompt you to fill in your responses. You can share as many or as few as you would like.
Is it for now?
Yes.
I'll just share my screen quickly to show you just what the process is, and then I'll not share because I know it can be hard to look at a screen and look at your own screen at the same time. But as you see, I just went to minty.com and then I put in this code right here. I click submit, and then, well, I did this before, so it took me straight to this page where you can start entering words that describe your home. If you see, instead of this, welcome to writing about home and a little thumbs up button, you just click the thumbs up button. So I'll stop sharing and let us know if you have any trouble getting into the page.
Yeah, by all means, share. This is I'm a little lost of this. Copy. All right.
Got it. Thumbs up.
Thumbs up from when, that's great. Anyone having trouble?
Yes.
What are you seeing, June?
I'm seeing you here. Do I actually put this www.menti.com in my, where do I do? Where do I
In
do
a
it?
browser, right? If you just open up Google, Safari, and you just put www.menti.com.
Okay.
We're just rapid firing words, descriptives.
It can be a phrase, it can be a thought, emotion, a word, whatever comes to mind.
Okay. Because it says a word. I don't know if it was going to allow more than just a word.
I think so.
For anyone who's having trouble, I tried popping a second link that doesn't need a code. I don't know if that will work better for you. But.
Okay, I'm there. Okay.
And we'll give you some time to enter your answers, but just don't neglect the kind of lavender submit button at the bottom, which we'll need to see your answers.
What do you do after you submit, Allison or Yasmin?
Once you've submitted and you feel like you've kind of written them all, you can just give us a thumbs up or a vocal yes, and then we'll share kind of the end product so we can all see.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm done. I filled in all the blanks.
Some thumbs up. Does everyone feel pretty much done? A couple seconds or?
Yeah, I believe it limits the length of the phrase that you can write in there. Yes, each one of those spaces.
That's right. It's mostly designed for single words, but we'll do our best to interpret.
Okay.
There are a few phrases I'm seeing come in, like short ones, so.
Yeah, it allows for short phrases. Oh, I think it says at the end 25. That probably refers to the number of characters, correct?
Probably so.
Okay. There we go.
All right, so I will share our results. Can everyone see? Yes, okay, perfect. So this is what our homes are. Yeah, I'll give y'all a second to read them. I'll read a few out as well. See my sanctuary, paintings from childhood, where I cook, built on those before me.
Does anything jump out to anyone in particular you want to comment on? And then we'll talk a little bit about how we might use this in a class.
I guess well, Harry Belafonte died. Was it last week now, right? But wasn't it he who referred to New York as that beautiful mosaic?
Mhm.
Am I mistaken? It was from that era. Somebody did. The
The
Dinkins era.
The mayor of that era did. David.
Mayor Dinkins, was it him, or I thought it was somebody else promoting him, who shared the stage with him.
I don't know.
But yeah, looking at this, it looks like a beautiful mosaic. New York in the flesh.
Does anyone have anything that they shared in particular that they want to comment on? Yes, please go ahead, Jay.
Oh, hi. Well, I noticed that there were, because I had put photographs of ancestors and then someone else had memories and connections, and I was just thinking about in terms of how much not just our childhood, but the people who came before us affect our sense of home, and because Gwen had, I think, Vietnam at heart. I'm assuming that was you, Gwen.
Correct, yes.
Yeah. So I think part of it that struck me is the idea that we are not just who we are who what came before us were, if that makes sense.
Makes complete sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My cat saw. My cat saw. It's so interesting learning about the others in the group by reading their sense of home and how we are sharing a lot, like the memories and connections and the photographs of ancestors. And also I see where my cats are. I even left out my cats. How could I have done that?
Exactly, my dogs.
It reminds me of a song from the 60s where the boys are. We do where the cats are.
Right. That's great. Yeah, this is beautiful, very meaningful self-expression that this enables students to feel and sense during the exercise, and then learn from their classmates how much they share in common, or how rich their experiences and histories and perspectives are.
Also, it's for people who only lived in New York, it's very difficult for them to understand what the world outside of New York City is like, and vice versa, obviously. But you take for granted sometimes so many things. I'm taking my students on it's our third field trip of the year to the Cloisters Museum tomorrow. We're going to do a picnic, and then we go into the museum after strolling through the garden. And I see there the line with history and culture, and it didn't even occur to me, history and culture, the fact that I'm going to the museum tomorrow, you just sometimes take it for granted what life here is like. You just don't think of it as something, you just think of it as your day-to-day life, and it's not. There's no place like the Met or the Cloisters. The art director of the Louvre Museum came to New York City once on a tour of the country, and he said that the Cloisters is America's greatest national art treasure. And it's just things that I lived, I hate to use the word literally, I hate it, but I lived literally down below the Cloisters. I could come out from my building and look up, and I would see the building. I know I'm speaking to a very hip crowd here, so I know that you all know what the Cloisters is. But again, yeah, it's just so easy to not appreciate the things that you have at your fingertips. You have the world at your fingertips in the city, and you just wake up every day and just think that this is life, and it's really something very special. And I thank this moment for every so often you need a little slap in the face to make you remember.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, because I had not been to New York City for a few months. Part of it was the weather, and part of it was other things, and part of it was just kind of taking it for granted. It's there. And I'm on a new track, going in, walking around, hiking in the city, going to the public library, all these lovely places you're mentioning. There's just so much there for us to enjoy and to treasure.
That's
Yeah.
lovely. Wondering now, I mean, home is so, I'm noticing just looking at this list, it's specific, but it's kind of limitless too, right? There are these very intimate things that are part of the home itself, the qualities, but then going out to history, ancestors, the energy of people around you. It's actually, you know, I'm realizing what an expansive term is. So I'm sure we could talk about this for the whole session, but we were also wondering how you might use something like this, a word cloud like this in your classes. So thinking about what your own students are learning, your curriculum, like whether it's using this to, you know, build, for example, vocabulary or working toward a writing prompt. We thought we could take just a few minutes to brainstorm some of the ways you might use this kind of exercise in class or build on it in class.
Well, I'm thinking about a student that I have. She's an advanced, I mean, she's basically fluent in English. She's from Madrid, but she wants to be a writer. She's a beautiful writer, but she has, you know, a long way to go before she's comfortable. That this is a great idea for just brainstorming language and fine tuning. Not even fine tuning, just getting it out without any kind of judgment. Just put it in. And then I'm thinking, while the student is brainstorming, maybe saying, oh, what's a better word? So looking up, like Google Translate. And so learning new language by saying, well, I want to say this, but how do you say that in English? And then so you use your tools and then put it in. And so you sort of have the outline, if you will, a very drafty outline of your first draft of ideas.
Terrific. And I see a hand from Judy.
Yes, hi. Well, my students are all with the 1199 hospital union, so they work in hospitals, nursing homes, you know, different medical facilities, but they're mostly older adults and mostly women. And they are also, a lot of them, from somewhere else. So I think this would be a great activity to see the commonality, as we just saw, within ourselves, and to be able to share things, because the good thing about them being a little bit older is that they have much more experience. And sometimes when they start to write, they'll say, well, I don't know if this is what anyone else wants to hear, or if this is interesting. And of course, it always is. It's always amazing. So I think that it would be a great exercise to look at the common elements and to be able to share.
I think it would be really especially interesting for these people that you work with, since they're in homes that are not people's homes.
Right.
And they're helping to make those people feel at home.
Yes.
Not at home.
And they're oftentimes, as home health aides, they are in someone else's home for 24 hours and or they live in.
Yes.
And they only have, you know, a certain space that's theirs. So, you know, it's always interesting to hear the stories.
Yeah, those are tremendous complications of the idea of home.
Yeah.
I think it's an excellent exercise. Well, for me, I like to use the known as a platform for reaching for the unknown. And this is a known that everybody has and shares, and they definitely can relate to. And I teach English as a second language. I believe that many people know the words, they're familiar with words, and this is a great exercise for the brain as a muscle to try to reach around and look for the words in their mind, not necessarily on Google or in a dictionary, that they already know, to try to strengthen their ability to access those words. I think that the importance of home is a further boost to wanting to find those words. So this is it's something that it's important to people, their home, and it's relatable to everybody. And like I said, I like that as the known for them to reach towards the unknown or the yet to be achieved.
Allison, I'm wondering if your work with the prison education project, whether you've used the idea of home and what special reverberations that might make.
You know, I think it's not something I've done directly. Because I think maybe I'm a little scared too, because as you said, the idea of home is charged in a way when you're in like an institutional setting. But what we often do is we do readings, and actually one of the poems we read together always is one that you brought into prison education program, Richard Hayden's Those Winter Sundays, which I'll put a chat in the end, which is, if you don't know it, it's a very kind of contained but beautiful tribute to a father. The subtext tells us it can be kind of a difficult father, but this loving act that the speaker didn't necessarily appreciate in the moment and came to appreciate only later. And that often elicits writing about home and family members.
Yes, I just used those two of the most poignant lines in that poem. What did I know? What did I know? In the poem that I'm writing. But I used, what can I do? What can I do?
Oh, that's beautiful. I see Judith, you have your hand up.
As I looked at the words, I see where it can be used as writing prompts also. Some of the phrase or words, because I volunteer in literacy and they have different levels. So it would be good, creatively.
Absolutely. When we were sort of thinking through how do you take this really big yet personal idea of home and talk about it, we started thinking of how many songs there are about home, how many pictures we all have in our phone about places that felt like home or moments that felt like home. So those can also probably be prompts, artwork that reminds you of home, a picture of your family, a song that takes you back to your childhood. There's a lot of ways to go about it, certainly. And I see Wen has your hand up.
Yes, it's not what I want to share is not necessarily all writing, because I've taught beginner levels before, so they don't really have the English vocabulary to write what is home to them. So what I do now, I learned this from another workshop, that at the beginning of each new school year, instead of having them trying to write something about themselves, I have them draw pictures. And I would do it first. I would show them my pictures. I would show, I'm from Vietnam, so I drew the map of Vietnam, and this and that, like this, like that. And if they know the words, then they can write the words on the picture. And afterwards, I let them share with each other first in their own language if they want to. But at least they get to know each other in that way about their home or their background. That's all.
I love that. And I love how a range of drawings could be like our range of words, you know, anything from a map to a stick figure representing a person to a particular kind of like architectural drawing. You know, there's so many options.
Yeah, and I discovered a lot of them are pretty good artists, actually.
Great. So shall we were thinking we want to get into writing about home a bit ourselves, and we also wanted to share with you some writing about home. We'll give you a packet at the end that's been published in Literacy Review. So I think if it's okay with you, Yasmin, shall I go ahead and share my screen and we can
Sounds
those
great.
pieces together? Okay, great. So this is a packet we've put together of writing about home from recent issues of the Literacy Review. At the top, you'll see a link to the piece on the Literacy Review website, and we won't get a chance to talk about all of them together in class today, but we hoped maybe we could talk about one or two.
So I start reading aloud, and if anyone wants to take over, we can do as well. It's a relatively short piece. My Country's Weather by Doris Gabordor. My story is about the weather in Liberia, the country where I was born and raised. There are 2 seasons, the rainy season and the dry season. There are 6 months of rain from May through October, and the dry season is the 6 months from November through April.
During the rainy season when I was little, it sometimes rained for many days and nights, and the rivers would flood. I loved the rainy season because when it was raining, I would go outside in the rain with my brothers, sisters, and other children to play and have rain showers. The rain also provided water for drinking. The rivers flowed freely and provided freshwater fish for eating. The rain also provided water for farmers to grow rice and vegetables, cassavas, potatoes, corn, peppers, all kinds of foods for eating. During the rainy season, it got cool and nice, and we could sleep well at night.
In the dry season, the weather got very hot throughout the day and night. It got to 100 to 120 degrees Fahrenheit sometimes. And it was it was difficult to sleep at night. There was no electricity in my village, and there were no fans for cooling down. We opened our windows, I'm assuming that's windows, during the night for cool air from the forest to come through. The village men used their canoes on the rivers to catch fish to eat, and the women used their fishing nets. My village didn't have any running water. We got water from the river for drinking. We played and swam in the rivers during the dry season. During the dry season, the farmers cleared some parts of the forest and burned bushes for farming. At night, we played under the moonlight that shone clearly. There was no television in our village to watch, so we would tell each other stories under the mango trees.
So beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful, just beautiful.
Thank you all so much for reading. It's always beautiful when you get to hear a piece read aloud in different voices. You know, we chose this piece for a few different reasons. One is just kind of the vividness and the aliveness of the piece, how it just evokes place with the details, and it's just very specific and personal, and the writing just supports the visuals that come through, and also just how sensory it is and how shared and universal it feels. I'm sure if we all close our eyes, we can remember what certain weather feels like in places we might have called home. And that kind of connection is really resonant here. Yes, I see a raised hand. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. It also, to me, the tone of it, sort of, you feel this sense of yearning. You feel the sort of, boy, if I could go back for one night and sit under the mango trees under the moonlight and listen to the stories, you know? It's really, really nice. Thank you.
Absolutely, Lorraine.
Yeah, I felt that as well. What touched my heart was, first of all, the title is about the weather, but the weather, it's so much more than a weather report. It's the connections between life-giving water and food, and being able to not only survive but thrive, and then the connections among the people that they were together in this. It's a very rich, meaningful memory of life at home.
Yeah, I could not articulate it any better. That's exactly what I loved about the piece as well. And Gregory?
Yes, I'm always struck by the clarity of a distant memory. It seems to be so far away, yet someone can paint such a clear picture, whether it's our own or it's someone else's. It just um, speaks to how important those memories are, that someone can retain it and recount it again with such clarity, like a painting that they have that's long since passed, but it's still very, very present at the fore of their minds, their memories. And you have to respect something. You have to respect something that's important to other people, like that.
Absolutely. And I think, Judith, you have your hand raised, please.
I picked up a sense of community strongly, and the love of sharing oral stories that we have gotten away from.
True. So true.
Yeah, it strikes me in that happens in the paragraph where she's saying, you know, what they don't have: no running water, no electricity, but it doesn't feel like lack. It feels very rich. As she's saying, what they don't have, it always illustrates what is there and what is special.
And how they adapted with what they didn't have. We didn't have electricity, no fans for cooling, but we opened our windows for cool air. So they, the community worked with what they had and made the best and thrived.
Yes, we is a very important word.
Right, we, yeah.
It always reminds me of a sense of like collective memory and collective experience. And what I love about the piece is how it says this memory in a way that only the writer could tell it. But if a person of their community, of their home were to read it, they would feel that kinship and feel brought in by the piece, which is just beautiful.
We want to get to rating, but should we maybe just read one more to show a very different approach, and then we can go to rating? Okay, sounds good. Different in format, a poem, and about how it's different in the approach. Would someone volunteer to read My Grandfather by Bruna Leal?
I'll be happy to do it again.
Please.
I remember my grandfather's wrinkled, rough hands as he held mine. I remember his big hug protecting me. I remember my feeling inside this hug, his face fresh with mint from his aftershave. He was a man who worked outdoors with the earth and tended a garden. He carried these scents too. He was calm with the scent of the oranges with lime that he affectionately peeled every day for me and my 3 brothers. I was his first granddaughter, so it was I who spent the most time by his side. And today, every day, when my husband prepares coffee, this scent invades my memories, I'm crying, and brings back all my grandfather's love. I miss him. When I am scared, I remember these feelings. I remember these scents, and it makes me feel safe again. That is so beautiful. So beautiful.
And that was a beautiful reading. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
So maybe just quickly before we get into writing, what do you notice about this poem? Maybe in comparison to the first one we read, what are some of the differences and similarities?
Well, my first take is it's the intimacy between 2 people. The other poem, the other story was, of course, about community with a group of we. This is between her and her granddad. And then it's so much about feelings, sensuousness, scent, smells, carried through her life.
Yeah, absolutely. All the ways she can feel those feelings again, even in absence of the person. There's that sense of time. But what you're saying about the intimacy is one of my favorite things. Starting with the wrinkled, rough hands, it's kind of imagining a film. We're starting really zoomed in, and then we kind of zoom out to other parts of her life.
Yes, home isn't just a place. It's also about people, specific people. I like her use of repetition too. I remember, then he was, and then he was, and then I was. And today.
Yeah, it's a nice structure. Wonder how long it took for her to write. Was there much in the process of the writing? Is there much editing? Or it's just let it out and this is what came out from her?
Or was it the brief expression of a lifetime of the company of memories that she's had carried, and she just put a pen to paper?
Yeah, it just came out naturally. Yeah.
Something about scents, SCENTS, that visual images can be thought of as in the past and remembered, but scents are always very much present. A scent is never a memory. It's something as if it's in your nostrils, and it's there with you. And having the scent now of something from then seems to bring it back from the past. It's not in the past. You remember it. It's with you right now. It's by your side.
Yeah, it never goes away.
It doesn't go away. It's
Yeah, it
it's there.
lives within you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's if you have a scent of something that was from your past, bringing that scent out brings alive everything that was connected with that scent.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's not a cognitive thing. It's, I don't know where it lives, but I guess in your memory, but it's a physical, maybe a combination, emotional.
Yes, yeah, it seems to provoke an active, live, physical reaction in the present.
Yeah.
That just seems to bring things to
Yeah.
life. Mhm.
Yes, absolutely. Beautiful.
I'm gonna stop sharing just so we can leave a little time for writing, but we'll share that link with you.
Good.
And so you can use those stories from Literacy Review, stories and poems. And we'll take now just 10 minutes for some free writing. I'm sure everyone is familiar with free writing. There's not that much you need to know, except for the rule is don't stop. Just keep going. And the prompt we're going to give you is the same one from the beginning. My home is. So if you ever get stuck, you can go back to that refrain. And we'll meet back here at 10:49.
Okay.
We write in this link that you had sent us.
No, you can write wherever you like in your own notebook or document. Just that's the prompt. My home is.
Okay.
All right, so if you want to just work toward a stopping place, we'll end. And then we can come back together. And I think we'll want to do evaluations in about 5 minutes. But quickly, does anyone want to share maybe a tiny piece of what you wrote, a word, a phrase, an idea?
I'd like to read my piece.
Please.
Yes, okay. Titled, I could barely see through my watery eyes. I sat deep in the chair, alone in the room, illuminated well, only by the lights of the trees. The tree. Sorry. The kitchen was full of the voices, the laughter, the clinking of glasses, and the of people enjoying the holiday food. The glistening lights, I stared into the glistening lights until my eyes glistened in return. The doorbell would ring. The vestibule wall was fully plastered with cards sent by the world of people like me who loved my grandmother as well. She would pass by those cards to answer the bell rang by one of them.
That is beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. Anyone else have a word or phrase? You can just say what you wrote about or any thoughts that arose in the process.
After having written for a while, I was kind of surprised. I was writing about being in New York City, and then I said, my home is the quiet after the noise, the solitude after the hubbub. I didn't know I was going to say that.
It's wonderful. It can be surprising sometimes what comes up for me. I try to write my room and I ended up just writing very small random details I remembered from every place that I've lived, which have been a few, kind of a little amalgamation of places.
Yeah, the writing takes you where you don't know you're going to go. And I will add, I said, finally, the flow of this pen, as I don't know where it's going, trusting that it will still be home when the time is up. That's like, that's what's great about these, just free writing, just let it out.
Yeah, I always tell my students, just if you're thinking I'm hungry, I want to have dinner, write that. It's all about where you end up. It's always fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wrote my home is so different from what I thought it would be. And then I took it from there.
What a great prompt. Yeah.
We want
I want to see these beautiful workshops because last time I miss Jasmine and Allison, and I think they must have an assignment to write about home. What I should write. I'm sorry I'm late because we are doing the troubleshooting. Okay, my home is like a very difficult for me to define. One is here, one is there. Whenever I look at the high moon, I think that home far away. I think the poet Li Po talk about this. Whenever I look at home here, it's sweet because with my sweetheart, with my students. So home, what is home? I do not know, but I think I know. Whenever I love, I want to stay. That's my home. I just think I want to write, but I didn't have time. But when I think about this topic, I think it's touched my heart. And thank you for this beautiful workshop. I wish I could enter early.
Wish you could have also. Oh, you got me crying.
Thank you for joining, even if it was at the end. I'm so grateful for your words and for you joining us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yay, she made us cry.
Yes.
Homesick.
Yeah, yeah.
That's big. Yeah.
We'll see. Elka has helpfully put the link to the evaluations in the chat, which I think we should probably turn to now in our last 5 minutes. I'll also drop into the chat the link to the packet of stories from the recent volumes of the literacy review. These are just a few. Writing about home is sometimes a section in almost every book. So please feel free to use those and to explore the literacy review website further if you want to use this topic in class.
And I use the literacy in class a lot, and it also goes well with curriculum topics. If we have to talk about work, then I look for a few stories where they talk about work, and that's a way to connect it to that, or family, of course. And then I pick a few, copy them, give them to the students. There's a lot you can do with that, even if you have to talk about other topics in class.
That's so nice to hear.
Thank you, Allison, and thank you, Yasmin. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
all for
Thank
being
you, both of you, Allison and Yasmin, and everybody else who contributed to making this class very real.
Yeah. Really, really wonderful. Hope I can make it as wonderful for my own students. I mean, it's a very emotional process that you are teaching us today. I'm sure your students, it brings up a lot of feelings. It's a good thing. Good for writing.
Well, thank you all for writing and sharing your words and your experiences. It means a lot.
Yeah. We were very excited about the topic and how to go about it, and you all made it just a wonderful experience. So thank you for being here and being present and sharing your lovely thoughts and words.
Thank
Good
you.
job. Good job.
Yasmin,
Thank
just
you.
a quick question, a personal question. My mother, we had a restaurant in North Miami Beach, Vito's on Northeast 6th Avenue, 163rd, 167th Street, 163rd. I forget, it turns somewhere over there. Were you familiar with it?
The name sounds familiar.
Home of the Fugazza.
I feel like I definitely at least passed it because the name sounds familiar.
Yeah, we delivered a lot over there on the beach.
Oh, beautiful.
Mhm.
Thank you, Jasmine and Allison. And it's a wonderful workshop. I will go to catch up a recording because, this year we decided to do, because a lot of people like me, if you're late for whatever reason, we still want to catch that workshop. So this time it would give us a chance to learn more. And I didn't hear my, fellow participants' great stories. I hope I can also learn from there. So we'll do the evaluation.
Yes.
Yeah. I tell you, for students.
Oh, okay.
I tell you, this topic is very touching. When I was thinking, Alison and Jasmine were also to write what I write. I thought about that another day, but now I thought it's something different. No, this is maybe their materials.
Yeah. We will do evaluation.
Yeah, but we can do the evaluation later.
Oh.
What's the evaluation form?
That's what I'm
Does
going to
anyone
do.
have trouble with the link? Let us know.
Yeah.
It was very quick. I did it already.
Okay.
Oh, great.
We see the beautiful materials.
Let's go back.
Which is the closest. Yes.
What?
I just did the evaluation, but I have a question about the, what was it, Mentimeter? What is it called? Is that menti.com? Is that something that you can set up?
Yes, it's very simple. I have like the free student account, but I believe it's free for like the basic templates and everything. It is free for everyone. It's just if you search mentimeter.com, I'll write it in the chat. It has a lot of different options, and what we did today was the word cloud option.
And it's really great that students don't have to sign in, so that's no additional hurdle.
It's very-
Yes, that's what I liked. It was very easy to access because sometimes when you are doing these types of activities, you spend most of the time playing whack-a-mole with, well, I can't do this, or my password doesn't work. Or, you know, it's like this, all you had to do was just put in the code and there you go.
Where it says at the bottom of the page, create your own
Yeah.
Menti of mentimeter.com. I guess that's it.
Right. And
You
I think
actually, yeah, you have to go to mentimeter.com to set it up, and then the link you send out is menti.com.
exactly. And you can make an account, but it's still free. It's just so you can have all your templates on one place.
Okay, yeah,
Sounds
thanks. I
great.
really like that. Great, great.
Elka, have
study.
you used it in class too?
I've seen it in a workshop before and thought I have to use that, and then I forgot. So thank you for the reminder. I will use it now.
So I assume you just plug in whatever topic you want for the writing prompt. Yes, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's going to be fabulous. Yeah, great to know about it.
Beautiful. Well, it's 11 o'clock, and unfortunately, I have to close the room to get ready for the next workshop.
Okie dokie.
Thank you all.